Alrighty folks, in today's video, we're going to be talking about why you're not happy, why you're still not happy, the real reason, not the micro reasons, because everyone has their own reasons for potentially being happy or not being happy, but the real reason, the reason behind the reason, the macro thing. This is probably going to surprise a lot of you, or maybe you've never even thought of it in this way, and by me breaking it down in a way that you've never heard before might unlock something that could possibly be helpful. And hopefully that's what we're doing on this channel, is sparking conversation and thought and whatever to be helpful and ultimately help you live a better life. I'm not your guru, not your coach, not your whatever, but here we go. Let's hop into it. So, one of my favorite quotes I'm going to start with. Your degree of success is determined by the extent to which you can solve problems. Or you can say, by the extent to which you can solve your own problems, right? So important. In life, essentially, we're going to run into a million problems. Small problems, big problems, life problems, relationship problems, money problems. And you're really like your degree of success, and in this case, we're not saying it has to be financial, it has to be this, but like your success in life, and that could even be determined by like your happiness. If you determine success as your happiness, your degree of happiness will be determined by your ability to solve your own problems. So if you have all these problems and it's just, oh, I have all these problems, like you're not going to be happy. You're going to be like, my life sucks. I have all these problems. But it's like, it's not really like, oh, how many problems do you have or how many problems do you not have? Like, oh, this guy who has less problems, like just naturally. It's like, no, like the guy who's happier and more successful, he's probably just way better at solving his problems. Right? So if you're thinking about this, I've always been depressed, I've always been sad, I've always blah, blah, blah. It's like, just think about it. Instead of, oh, I'm this way, just think, maybe I'm not as good at solving my own problems as I could be, as I should be, as someone else is, right? And maybe you're unhappy because of relationships in your life, friendships, parents, romantic relationships. Maybe it's your finances. Maybe it's your fitness. Maybe it's something traumatic or something horrible that's happened to you when you were younger or even recently, and you just can't seem to get it to get out of your head or get out of your own way. Maybe it's like a clinical depression type thing where you're like, I'm clinically depressed, like there's nothing I can do, it's completely out of my control, it's just a problem with my chemical imbalance, whatever, which I don't really believe in, or I don't think it's even smart to believe in that, which is a topic for a whole another video. But imagine, like we'll nail down to the relationship one, like imagine you just solved every relationship problem that you had. You'd probably be happier in a relationship. Imagine your money problems. You solved all your money problems. Like every problem that you have, by nature of it having a problem, like it has a solution. The solution could be really hard. You might not know what the solution is. It might take a long time for you to figure out what it is. But like the answer, I feel like the answer to every problem, the solution to every problem is in the head, is in the mind of someone else. Whether you can get there through books or YouTube videos or podcasts or, specialists, therapists, doctors, whatever, like somebody's got to have it. So I think we can start to think of it as like, let's just be aggressive and take massive action about solving our own problems, and we'll be way, way better off, right? Like imagine if you solved every problem that you ever had one by one. Could you even like imagine a reality in which you wouldn't be happy? Like you don't have any problems. You solved all of your problems. Like just imagine like, okay, what's my next biggest problem? What's the problem that's bothering me the most right now? What's the biggest problem in my life? Well, what if I just made it my life's mission for the next week, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years to solve that problem? I'm sure we would be way happier on an individual level. And even if I think, oh, I'm clinically depressed or, oh, I'm this and that, and it's like, okay, well then like, that's a problem. Is there a solution? Yeah, I think there's many solutions. Medications, deep personal work, potentially, like psycho-assisted psychotherapy. There's so many different things that you could do to attempt to solve that problem, right? And ultimately, here's the interesting thing, which maybe you've also never thought of. Every time you solve a problem, you inevitably create another one. Most of the time, hopefully pretty much every time, you're trading one problem for a lesser problem. Here's an example, right? If I'm single and my problem is I'm lonely or I don't have anybody that loves me, I don't have a girlfriend, and then if I solve that problem by getting a girlfriend, that's great. I don't have that problem anymore, but now I might have another problem, which is I have girlfriend problems. I have relationship problems, right? I have, oh, my girlfriend nags me all the time, or we really don't get along when we talk about this political issue, or it's a problem that she wants me to FaceTime her twice a day, every day, and I'm busy building my business. You know what I mean? Like, you inevitably will trade those problems. Same thing with like finances. Like, imagine you're like, I'm broke, I want to be rich, that's my problem. You build up a company, it's super successful, then you sell it for like a 9-figure exit or whatever. You have multi-millions of dollars in your bank account, and it's like you solved your money problem, so you fixed that problem, but then you sold your business, and then maybe you find yourself in like this weird zone of like purposelessness, or now what, or that weird sort of like depression that people fall into when like they have all the money in the world, but then they're like, I don't know what to do next. This is weird. Like, so it's like another problem. You see, every time you solve a problem, a new one inevitably arises. And again, hopefully you're trading worse problems for better problems. But just some food for thought. If we can get better at solving all of our problems, I believe we can be happy, we can be fulfilled. Whatever it is that you ultimately deem successful or your ultimate goal, it can be achieved. You just got to solve those problems. Comment below. Cheers.